How's it going, everyone? The TNA Final Resolution post show. How's everyone doing? Io, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's pretty nice, chilly on the east side. Did normal errands and stuff. Also finished up a couple wrestling shows. Still watching Final Battle a little bit. NXT Deadline's going on right now. It's going on right now as we speak. But make sure I finish Final Resolution in time just for this one. So, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's kind of nice out here. It's the weather can't seem to make up its mind out here. It's supposed to be cold, sunny today, but it could change tomorrow. But I'm doing good. That was a good show last night.
It was like top to bottom. Yeah.
I think like that might have been like overall like a definitely I think that was the best like plus show this year from them. And like I'm trying to like go back to to think of like what would be like better in just terms of overall, pay-per-views plus specials. Because I thought that was at least a top three in terms of that in that regards. But yeah, that was a really fun show.
Yeah, it felt like they needed to like kind of set the tone a bit or so. So because they've been having like a good week so far. With the big news of them going to AMC. So I know that the roster and the crew, like the moral was completely high. Like everybody was so excited. Everybody feels rejuvenated, excited. With the news. So a good way to kind of cap off the year and like continue that would be some good momentum coming into El Paso. I think they did. I think they did just that.
Yeah, definitely. And that crowd was very hot. You know what I mean? Like all night. Venue looked good. The crowd was mic'd well. You know what I mean? They were really into everything. Like I really noticed that, especially during the Cardona Mance Warner match. I know it's a hardcore match. Usually people pop for that, but even that match, people were really into. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have a lot to talk about. That was a good show. And you know what, too? I honestly say that for the first time in a long time, I was actually like really happy with the debuts that we got. You know what I mean? Like this wasn't the old when we were kind of not really promised, but maybe led down the way where we thought we were going to get some big surprises. And I was happy.
It seemed like these debuts, you could say like no one really kind of. I mean, at least for one in particular that we talked about, like some debuts, some didn't really expect or see coming, but like you said, it's kind of nice when things don't not many things get leaked out. So
exactly, and that's one of the first one. That I'm glad you mentioned that because I think for the first time in like a while in that terms too, like I know we saw spoilers for one, but the other ones I did not see coming. And so that made it like, you know what I mean? We're going to get into it here pretty quickly when we get into the pre-show because that's where I thought that my favorite debut came from. But yeah, overall, like I said, I thought it was a really enjoyable show.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into everything, because we, again, like I said, we have a lot to talk about. I just want to remind everyone that this week's podcast is sponsored by Shroom Bar, the protein mushroom bar. It's been not psychedelics, but 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it might actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It has cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system. And we all know you're gonna need that when you're on those nasty ass gym mats. On top of all that, it has 12 grams of protein. Go to eatshroombar.com and use code BODYSLAM at checkout for 25% off your first order. Okay, Io, let's get right into it because again, this pre-show I thought over delivered. But we're gonna start with Eric Young and Cedric Alexander. And let me just say, like, I know that he, it seems like he's been used not as much lately. But I think Cedric Alexander, every time he gets in the ring, I think he just delivers. And like War, it's just, we need to lock this guy down. But I thought this was a really fun match, especially just to give this on the pre-show. But what'd you think about this one?
Yeah, this was a very interesting matchup. First time ever, I would believe, between EY and Cedric. Yeah, like you said, this was it seems like since coming in, yeah, Cedric, he's kind of like his level's kind of like peaked up to speak. He's been there with Ali, Mustafa, um, who was he face? Oh, Leon Slater, the Hardys, and seems like his game just level up. Like I feel like he's at the right place, and compares to like I'm so sure folks wanted him like in another place, yeah, with the Hurt Syndicate and stuff, but I feel like here, like yeah, he can like kind of raise up his stock a bit more, so to speak. Whether it's exhibition tag or even in top top tier contention or so. But yeah, tonight I mean he went up against a 2-time world champion in EY, and one thing about EY, he's you, you can't have like a bad match with EY. Like he's one of those guys like that can put on a good performance with anyone, and him still doing at this level is pretty incredible too. So yeah, very very good match in the countdown.
And you know what? Every company needs guys like people like EY, just because and I think TNA uses their veterans just about as as well as anyone, and just in terms of they're not dominating the screen, and they're not taking opportunities away from the young wrestlers. You know what I mean? I think they use EY perfectly, and that's not even and that's still why putting him in a top program, and because we still want to know what this whole cleanse thing is. So yeah, I think they use EY perfectly, and like you said, completely agree. You can't have a bad match with EY. Constant professional. You know what I mean? He's going to be in the Hall of Fame eventually as well.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's the good thing about this resurgence of TNA. We still have like our TNA originals that are still put on a good performance. EY and Kazarian, it's like it's kind of like what like hey, like here are these guys who've kind of like seen the ups and lows, the management changes of this company, and that here they are. They're still put on a good perform level, especially with the new especially with the new chapter coming next year. So it kind of like steps up their game. Like hey, we want to be at their level, so to speak. So yeah, yeah.
And Cedric, real quick back to that, Cedric getting the win to me is very encouraging. That this guy's probably sticking around. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they've used him very well. And again, in the matches that he's had, and again, he had a great exhibition match against Leon. So yeah, hopefully this guy sticks around, because Cedric is very good.
Yeah.
He's still in his prime, like his name suggests. So that's the kind of guy that you want to get, especially when you're going forward with this new TV deal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Exactly. Next, we're going to move on to what I thought was a very fun 6-man, which came with, and impromptu. We get the system coming out. Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and Moose with Coach Alicia, and they're just kind of laying out an open challenge. And here's where we get, I thought, the best debuts of the night. It was Brock Anderson, obviously. I mean, Brock. We all know who his dad is, Arn Anderson, the legendary Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
With tag team partner CW.
ECW legend. Oh no,
Yep.
I was gonna. Oh, continue. I was saying ECW legend, yeah. CW Anderson, yeah. I'll continue what you're saying.
And then and again, that might not be a big debut to some, but those are the type of signings. Brock Anderson's 28. He he had a little bit of run in AEW, ROH. I think they've been in MLW, but that's the kind of signing that the TNA does very well with. You know what I mean? There's a lot, obviously the pedigree's there. TNA's going to get a lot out of him. And then obviously we get, for me, the big debut of the night in Bear Bronson. And this is another one because TNA does very well at big man. Going back to just recently with Jonah, obviously PCO as well. You can keep going back, Abyss. So I'm very interested with this one. And again, I had made a comment that similar to Jake something. I'm gonna forget about that at this point. If we have Bear Bronson, I think we're gonna do a lot with him. But what'd you think about this one, Io? I thought this was a very good 6-man.
Yeah, agreed. Anytime you have the system in action, like we're gonna get a very fun match because that's how all three guys are good, including JDC. Yeah, Moose, Myers, Eddie, they're a very well packed group, that they know each other's chemistry and and they can work well with any opponents given to them. And what's interesting, yeah, as I mentioned, JDC with retiring, they're kind of been as on Thursday. There's talks of like trying to figure out recruiting like the a new system member, to replace JDC. So I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks. But yeah, for this match, yeah, it was nice to see the debuts of the Andersons, Brock and CW. Like you said, they were in MLW. I'm familiar with their work a bit. It'd be interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting what their status there is too. And of course, yeah, Big Bear Bronson. Was able to watch some of his stuff on the Indies and in AW. He's a pretty interesting big fella. Glad they're bringing him. And for a while, he held himself, with Moose and Myers. Speaking of Myers, yeah, he actually Myers actually did train him in his school. I forgot the name of it. Build a wrestler. Build a wrestler.
Creative Pro?
Creative.
Is it
Creative Pro.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
I
Creative
believe
Pro.
so.
Yeah. I forgot the name of his school, but yeah. So yeah, it was very interesting. Some stuff there too. So yeah, this was a great way to introduction, possibly new additions to the roster. Who knows? Maybe it's a one night. So yeah, but yeah, this was a good trios match.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And just going back to the signings, like how do you like if these all three of them are sticking around, how do you feel about that? Like, do you like the additions?
Yeah. I like the additions. The Andersons, they would bring something special, like a very old school vibe. Very very old school vibe. Wrestling style, I guess. Wrestling vibe, I guess you could say, because there's like there's some veteranness and then there's a young generation in between the both of them. So yeah, they can bring something. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing them sticking around. And of course, yeah, Bear Bronson, very a big guy. We could always use some more heavyweights on our roster side.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like Moose is getting up there. And we don't know of how the status of Jake something, and then like really after that, we don't have much.
Yeah, and Lloyd,
So
we have big guys on the come up. Agent Zero, that's what we'll talk about later. AJ Francis, we'll talk about later too. And I think that's kind of about it. Yeah. We're kind of a little short on the big guys. Yeah.
But going to real, and we'll talk more about that with AJ because that reminds me of something. But yeah, we'll get into that later. But next we're going to move on. That was the pre-show. Next we're going to move on to what I thought was a really fun match. And I saw someone say that they wanted this to be quick. I'm glad it wasn't, and no way should it have been quick because there's a big difference between Dempsey and Robert Stone at this point. But it was Mike Santana taking on Charlie Dempsey, William Regal's son. And I noted earlier in the night, back to back, a lot of WCW alums there. You know what I mean? That was a lot of that flavor in regard to that. But I thought this was a really fucking good match. I think everyone who's familiar with Charlie Dempsey knows he can go. You know what I mean? So this was a good one.
Absolutely. No, this was going to be a very interesting test for Mike. Like you said, Robert Stone, and I mean, Charlie Dempsey ain't no Robert Stone. Very different. I don't even have to go to explain that part. But yeah, facing son of William Regal, very technician based. And it was smart of Dempsey too, because targeting the arm, as Hennepin mentioned, the arm's still kind of bothering Mike, because of those attacks a couple weeks back. So very smart of to go after that arm, and then you could tell, even when Mike hit the spin to block, it kind of like took a little pain in there too. But yeah, this was a good way to open the match. I mean, open the show. Santana, firing up the crowd, El Paso crowd, the stuff, getting them pumped up and stuff. So this was a good opener. As it kind of shows, it's Santana's path of like taking down these NXT guys as on his path to like regaining the world title. Yeah,
Shout out to our guy Jeff. He's a big Dempsey fan, and I agree. Like, and you're talking about like old school type of worker. Like, he's a guy like, man, I wish TNA could snatch. You know what I mean? Because I know he's obviously in NXT right now, but I think he brings something different. You know what I mean? You don't see guys like that anymore.
When he had a good match with Jonathan Gresham a year back. We you remember that match, and I thought it was pretty good. I was like, man, this guy's really good. Like he could, if NXT can like get behind him in some sort, like I don't know, like because I know like he's not really popular. It's no secret I'm popular on like when you look at the other stars there. But I'm saying like he could be maybe like a very serious, gritty, confident type of wrestler if NXT wants to get behind him. But well, I guess we'll see on there because it's because Miles Bourne, Tavian Heights, they went on to do the other things like from that North Quarter Catch Crew group. So yes, it's interesting. Like Dempsey kind of seems to be left out like on between that group. But so yeah, but at least for tonight, yeah, he had a good match with Mike Santana. So.
That's the thing. Dempsey had a good like Heritage Cup run. I remember if I'm remembering right, or at least some like matches when it was him and Noam Dar, like some great matches. Yeah, I think it's just a kind of a case that like Dempsey might be like in the wrong company for now, just because I would say that obviously the wrestling's there, but like it just seems like until you have like a quote unquote character / like more personality in WWE, you kind of might be held back a little bit. To where I think that in like other companies, you're able to kind of like, if you can develop that on the fly, you know what I mean? And it's not really going to hold you, you know what I mean? Like, I think he would do a lot more. I think he would do well in TNA.
I think so too.
But this was a good one. I'm glad Santana won. This reminds me.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. One more thing. Yeah, he brings. I should have brought this up. He brings like a Doug Williams X5. Like remember when Doug won the X Division title? Yeah, he brings something to that. Yeah,
that's a great comp bio. That's complete, and just the way that the way Doug Williams kind of like went into the X Division, like he wasn't going to be doing any of that flip stuff. Like he was talking about being a serious wrestler. That's very I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't mind recycling things, but yeah, that'd be like a new like British invasion. You know what I mean? Like you put in Dempsey leading that'd be great.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say real quick, I'm glad Santana won, and this reminds me of when he went through the system. You know what I mean? They've done this kind of well with him. You know what I mean? Like so basically, he's like going to be going through these groups. I mean, going through the NXT guys, basically on his way till getting his championship back, or so it keeps Santana preoccupied. You know what I mean? This is a top feud without a belt, and like I always say, TNA really doesn't have to create any titles to kind of create feuds. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a title to create a storyline. So this was good though, and this whole thing with Santana is very good. Okay, next we're going to move on to the Knockouts title match, and I was very surprised. What?
Knockouts tag title. Oh, you say Knockouts tag title? Yes, sir.
Yes. And I was very surprised on this one because, we were joined by Ash on commentary, which is great that they are finding ways to use her because I'm glad that just because she's not wrestling, she needs to be on TV, and I like this. It was the Inspiration, the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, taking on Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford with Robert Stone, who I believe that they're now known as the Diamond Collective, which I like that. That's good. I didn't think Robert Stone was going to be involved, but that's still fine. I'm okay with that. This was interesting. I did not think that this was going to go down because as people who watched the match, we got a little bit of interference from Maggie Lee and Heather, which leads to the Inspiration retaining. On one hand, I'm like, okay, maybe this means the Inspiration are staying, and on the other hand, I'm like, okay, that's good because maybe that means we also have a proper division now because I don't think they're going to run this match back a third time. So I was shocked, but I'm actually happy that we might be moving on with this one.
Yeah, this one surprised me too because I thought as you did, I thought like Tessa and Crawford might have a chance winning them. I mean, because basically like the experience on their side. Um, I'm not surprised. Yeah, Robert Stone's joining them. Yeah, like I figured it was only a matter of time before he regroups with them too. So, but yeah, this was okay tag match. What I like about with this current run of the Inspiration, we're actually getting to see them in serious matchups. No offense to their previous run, and stuff, but like we're seeing them in serious feuds and serious matches and with serious competitors. So yeah, this kind of like boosts up their stock a bit. Like they gone through the Elegance brand, the Angel Warriors, and then now Blanchard and Crawford. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, pretty interesting where this ring takes them and stuff. So oh yeah. Speaking of the Elegance brand, yeah, they got involved too. So yeah, things seem to be packing up a bit on the tag division.
Real quick on the Elegance brand, because I want to bring up a comment from Charles Dobson. He was just mentioning this guy right here. I've never seen. I know who Big Ben Bishop is. I've never seen him work, but I remember when I think he submitted a video for when they were doing the Elegance Challenge, and I was like, man, that guy's huge, and like his video was pretty funny if I remember right. Like, and I was like, okay, maybe TNA should look at him. I agree with that. Again, I've not seen his work, but he looks like he's a big guy. He looks like he can go. So yeah, are you familiar with him, Io?
Big Ben Bishop. Did he appear on TNA?
I'm not sure. I think he was on AEW not too long ago on either a Collision. I think he was on an episode of Collision. But yeah, I know. Do you like when you see him? Like I'm like, dude, this guy is huge. Like I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? If this guy is, I want to see him work. You know what I mean? Because and then I saw him pop up because I believe he sent in a video for the Elegance, like to try to find Mr. Elegance. I was like, okay, maybe they should be looking at this guy.
Let me look him up. Big Ben Bishop. Never heard of him, but yeah, he has a good look.
But back to this match out, where do you think were we so okay, because obviously I don't know what the Angel Warriors are going to be in the tag team division right now. So where, even though I was just saying that we might have a division, where do you think we go from here? Like who's going to challenge for the Knockouts tag team titles next? Do you think we go with Harley and Roxy? I mean Mila or someone else or
Mila and Harley, yeah. That's a good question. I think we're gonna see the tag division kind of build some stock a bit. I think they should hold on before another title defense, like kind of see who really is climbing up the ranks. Yeah, I like to see. I would like to see Mila and Harley, get their shot in because I don't think they got a tag title. I don't think they even got a tag title shot yet since coming in. But yeah, build up the division and stuff. So.
obviously I could see just the way the match went down. Like I could see them taping where Heather and Maggie say that they should get a shot for helping them retain. I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. I don't think they will lose. I mean, the Inspiration will lose, but that's just like an easy match they could do. Like you know what I mean. But in terms of like a long term feud, yeah, I would like to see Harley and Mila be involved in that. Okay, next we're going to move on to what I thought was a very fun match. It kind of blew away my expectations a little bit. It was Matt Cardona versus Mance Warner with that's set to land in a street fight. This was good. I really enjoyed this. You know what I mean? Like it had a bunch of fun spots, whether it was Cardona. Obviously, he's always ready for a shameless plug. He had a bag of his action figures that he hit Mance with. I thought that was a very fun spot. The doors, the cooking sheets. Like this was fun. What'd you think about this one, Io?
Yeah, this was very good street fight. Both guys, synonymous to this style of matchup. Yeah, they went all in. Everything but the kitchen, everything but the kitchen sink, as they say. Um, yeah. I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised. I thought, actually, I couldn't say surprised. It could have gone to it could have gone to anyone. I was thinking like Mans maybe might pick up another win here because because Steph the Lander, she's gonna get involved, whatever, for her man and stuff. But yeah, Cardona, he's still riding off the high, with that WWE appearance and stuff. But yeah, this is a good way. Yeah, this is a good way, to build both guys. I think Mans look good even in defeat too. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I think that Mance, even though I was kind of wanting him to win, I thought again this doesn't take away anything from him. Usually, and I usually will feel that way, especially like after a hardcore match, but because both guys beat the hell out of each other. But yeah, I would definitely like them to see them start doing something more serious with him in terms of let's put him in like have him get some wins, and then put him in like a big time feud. Eventually, maybe building him up, maybe for internet, try to be international title or something like that. But yeah, this was good though. I'm fine with Cardona winning. Now, what a transition. What I'm not fine with is our next match. People were hot for that. Again, I see the long-term vision, especially with the parts that are involved, especially because I think there's going to be more to reveal.
This one kind of raised my eyebrows too, but yeah, go on.
We get Channing Stacks Lorenzo with Lexus King taking on, and I don't know what he was wearing, taking on Steve Macklin for the international title. I want you to start with this one. Just first thing that comes to your mind when you think about the results of this one.
I'll try to keep my best to keep it civil, but yeah. But I don't know how to put this. I was like, "Hey, WTF?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I can see based on the three TNA NXT matches they had, because eventually, seems like NXT has to get a win of if there's multiple interpromotion matches on the TNA card, NXT is gonna have to get their licks into, or I mean get a W or protect it of some sort. I mean, well, that's you guys know what I'm saying there. So I was a little scratching head because this just kind of came out of nowhere, and no offense to Stacks, he's not really kind of featured much on NXT, so that's that. But and also I thought we were done with this whole title changing, on NXT side because Layton Lee just brought the title, so like here we are again with this, rescuing the title situation and stuff, or whatever. But yeah, decent. It was a decent stuff. I mean, of course, Lexus King was there, so it was no shenanigans. He was gonna get involved and stuff. So, but yeah, this is the way to kind of keep the feud going with NXT TNA. It'll be interesting where Macklin goes. Hopefully, maybe he might appear to, or I mean, hopefully he gets the title back. I don't know. So I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, decent match. Oh yeah. It'll be interesting where how's Ariana Grace feels. Because I got a lot to say about her later. So yeah.
Here's the thing, and I don't think this is a spoiler alert because I would assume a lot of people are watching. Obafemi just beat Ricky Saints for the NXT title.
Yeah.
To regain it.
Yeah.
This has kind of been a running thing in a lot of my group chats. I'm in pretty much a lot of them with you. If they're upset with the names that the NXT is sending. Now, when I look at that, and then I look at what just happened with Obafemi and Ricky Saints dropping the title back, with the exemption of maybe those two, and I don't think we don't really need to see Trick again. Who are the top guys in NXT? It's pretty thin. So I think maybe people's complaints about Stacks winning, mine included, I think a lot of people, is that he's not really even a mid carder there. But again, this is like NXT's fault, and maybe it's coming at the expense of TNA. But again, like I just said, they don't
It's
really have any top
it's
guys.
the main. It's mostly the main roster's fault too, because they're
Yeah,
taking. And I know for a fact Shawn Michaels doesn't really too fond of this too. Like they're just taking their NXT guys without a plan, and that's just kind of how it's just been going. And like, yeah, look at the men's side. If you guys are watching Deadline, yeah, look at the men's side too. Like Joe, I mean, you can pretty much say Joe Hendry is like the you're asking like who are the top NXT guys. So I guess Joe Hendry's one of them now. I guess, but that kind of says a lot because the dude just got signed. I mean, the dude's now official with WWE, but and they even asked TNA to bring in Leon Slater, you know, and Dark State, no offense, and Dark State, no offense, neither of those guys are top guys, no offense, and then there's Javon Evans. I mean, to granted, he's been in big profile matches, so yeah, like you said, there's really not that much top men NXT guys. So, but yeah, back to his stacks. I mean, I hope NXT starts featuring him because now he has our title. Like, so yeah, at least yeah, feature him for a bit. So when eventually we get our title back, and then yeah, we could pretend like this didn't happen.
yeah. The problem with NXT again, there's just so many like things you could say, and the parallels to me like run very similar to when the Elite left ROH, and then just ROH was very thin. I think a combination. There's like a lot of factors, like AEW being a thing now. TNA, NXT, WWE is not really scouting or signing indie talent. They're going the NIL route. So there's not really a lot of names in NXT anymore. This isn't the black and gold era. So,
Mm,
and again, so I think a lot of people also are upset that like you're thinking that because if you're looking at the talent NXT is sending over, TNA should be going over all these matches. Well, that wouldn't be fair. So I think that's just the reality of it, that the people who are going over for NXT, you're just not really familiar with. And I think that's more NXT's fault. So I get being upset about Stacks beating Macklin, but I think that there's a long-term story going on. Especially, I think Ariana is going to come into play. We've been talking about
yeah,
that. You mentioned that again last night. I think she
yeah,
tweeted something.
yeah. Based on um, I don't want to bring her up later, but yeah, based on yeah the end of the show, yeah, it seems like this is more they're going to be featuring Stacks a bit more. So I guess I don't know. I guess maybe to put in the title it makes sense. I don't know. We'll see. So
And just like everyone else who comes to TNA from NXT who gets better, JC Jane credited her run there, I believe. Stacks Stacks can only get better, especially if he's going to be in a TNA ring. You know what I mean? It's very different. So
yeah,
we'll just hope for the best at this point.
yeah,
Okay, next we're going to move on to we're getting into what I think again is the very going forward bangers everywhere. But we're going to start with what I thought was a very very good knockouts world title match. Lei Ying Lee taking on Xia Brookside.
yeah,
I thought this was a great match. Of you had two partners respected each other, but they still went out there and put on a great match. Xia looked every bit of belonging in this match. I think she's going to be a future world champ. But I'm going to keep saying it. I think they have to pivot. There's a way to keep Danny away from the title but still be fresh. I mean, to be in contention. You got to give Leia a long run. I think she just keeps impressing. I think she's a champ. She's poised. She carries herself like a champ. This was very good, Io.
yeah. I agree. This was very good competitive match. I know we've been spotlighting Lei Ling a lot too. Especially winning the title recent. We should also give a shout out to Xia Brookside too. Yeah, because in her match with Danny, and of course this match, yeah, she's been able to kind of like really do a lot of show a lot of her like kind of British style wrestling, technical based and stuff, and it kind of really impressed me because like here's a small girl, of course, daughter of daughter of Robbie Brookside, and and in the years that she's been doing this, yeah, she's kind of been very impressive. So yeah, I think it was a good way to kind of like build her stock, like kind of show like she's not just Lei Yingli's partner. She's also could be a serious competitor, and hey, for his work, she gave Lei Yingli a good showing. Also, yeah, this is a good match for both women. Kind of really kickstart the new direction of the Knockouts division.
Yeah, I think it's looks very bright going forward, especially just because now I think a combination of obviously this new AMC deal and then obviously the history of the Knockouts division. I think that's where we're going to see a lot of potential growth. You know what I mean? Well, I think a lot of big names could have potential to be signed, and yeah, I like I like the era we're going, and yeah, this match was really good. I'm interested to see who Lei's next opponent is.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, like I said, I'm interested to see like if they still maybe do some tag matches with the two of them because I just thought that the Angel Warriors were just getting going. So I still hope that that's still a thing to a degree.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I think there's still going to be a team. It's just
okay.
they're just Lei is just focused on the singles stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, next we're gonna move on to what.
Oh wait. Yeah. Yeah. After both girls, hugged. Yeah, Danny Luna came, attacked them. Then Indy Hartwell came to him, and then all hell broke loose after. So yeah.
Oh, you know what's funny too, Io? Because I believe he was in the ring afterwards. I think what also makes every time a TNA title is taken by NXT is Carlos is always there to hand the titles out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think just the image we've had 3 or 4 times of Carlos putting a TNA belt on an NXT wrestler. You know what I mean? So I think that's just kind of one thing that always will stick out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, we're going to move on to what I think I think they do. This has to be the best TNA match of the year. I don't really give a shit too much about what Meltzer said. This one man's opinion, but this has got to be a 5-star rating. This was the Rascals, Zachary Wentz, Trey Miguel, Myron Reed, Desmond Xavier taking out Order 4, Mustafa Ali, Agent Zero, Jason Hotch, and John Schuyler. This was like, if this happened, yeah, this would dominate. Like when they do the top 10 plays on ESPN, you could probably take 10 plays from this whole match. I'll start us off with this one. Man, what a match!
Yeah. It's so great having all 4 of the Rascals. At least for now, having all of them team up and like showcase their chemistry as we all know to love. Yeah, absolutely, this was a great match. Shout out to Moose, letting folks know to check this one out because it absolutely delivered. Order 4, Order 4. It's crazy too, like we're reaching a year since this group's kind of been a thing, at least almost a year since this group's been a thing. Yeah, it's very how well everyone has linked with each other, and including Tasha Steeles, and of course the addition of Agent Zero, who I'll mention in a second. Yeah, it seems like give props to all 8 guys. Like they really put out a showing. They know the assignment. When you're in the middle of that's the thing, when you're in the middle of the card, your job is to kind of like raise the stakes up a bit so that the other matches after you have to follow. And fortunately, the rest of the matches had a hard time after that. But yeah, this was a great one. Yeah, Agent Zero, he was a difference. He was kind of a difference maker. Like as soon as he got tagged in, before that, damn. Zachary with the Bronco Buster. went a little too long on that Bronco Buster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He might be
Yeah,
still be going.
yeah, and his I don't know if his wife, girlfriend, I don't know. Yeah,
Yes.
Priscilla Kelly, yeah, she did that earlier in her indie match. Yeah, for folks who want to check that out. But yeah, went a little too long on that Bronco Buster. But yeah, then Agent Zero got tagged in, and then he took it from there. Showed us powerhouse throughout all four of the Rascals. So yeah, it's a nice combination of like some speedness, some ground game, and then slams, and then of course action all over the ring, and of course we had a segment after segment after, which we'll get into in a second. So, but yeah, this match had everything. It was great. The El Paso crowd was on its feet throughout.
You had the spot where Trey slid on his knees and then hit the destroyer, like
Mhm.
going to the outside of the ring. You had Myra hitting that cutter. You had some comedy with Trey thinking he's going to kiss Tasha, but then accidentally kissing Agent Jiro's chest, which was very funny.
Mhm.
Um, you had that finish with just basically the Rascals just doing a showcase. Um, yeah, this was a great match. Very good. Again, probably TNA match of the year, I would think, and yeah, I would should get some love for like match. You know what I mean? Like match of the year overall, like just in the major awards. So yeah, this was phenomenal. Now, what were you saying out of the segment after the match?
Oh, during the match, yeah. So Mustafa
Yes.
decided to bounce, leave during the match. I don't know why. And then a few minutes after, yeah, the guitar strung sound, and it's Elijah. Yeah, he hog-tied Mustafa. Hog-tied Mustafa, and then rode on the horse, and then rode him out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was wacky, but it was what's it called? So I like again. That's probably going to be Mustafa Ali's next feud, which that
yeah,
should be a top program. There's a story to that. So because
yeah,
Ali broke up Elijah's concert, tried to
yeah,
re-injure the arm, so
yeah,
this will be good.
yeah,
Uh, I yeah, this was and again like it made sense. Ali is maybe the leader, but
yeah,
he's going to leave. He's part of the team.
yeah,
He's a coward, so it
yeah.
made
What?
sense.
Yeah, one other thing is yeah, this is interesting because now the Rascals, they defeated the System and Order 4, two big TNA factions, so that kind of puts them kind of a little above. So interesting to see what's next. And I applaud YouTuber for actually bringing up that quote that I mentioned a while back, that this should be TNA's version of how the Elite is, and I think I stand
Yes.
by that. Yeah.
Yeah. I tweeted that last night. One, make sure people knew that you were like probably the first one. I mean, you were the first one that I know that said that. But yes, and a lot of people were agreeing with it. Yeah, they should be booked that way. So TNA needs to make them a high priority.
Hmm.
Um, Next, we're going to move on to sadly, and again, I still think that there's potential there, but a match that I did not think needed to be there didn't really kind of felt out of place with everything else. I honestly think it might have been the weakest match on the card, but it was the Hardys. Well, I wouldn't say that, but it was the Hardys versus the High Rise, Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe. I wanted more from this, and I just think the combination of the last match, everything after, it was underwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're going up against two rookies, so what can you expect? But
Yeah.
yeah, I think what kind of really took off was before the match began. Yeah, the lights went out, and then there was this quote I forgot that was on the screen, but yeah, yeah, again, like it was basically, yeah, veterans going up against rookies, but I mean, at least good opportunity for Igwe and Dupont. Dupont was the one wearing the white, but yeah, at least it was you could pretty much say it's a learned experience. As wherever those two go on, they went up against the Hardys, and of course, the Hardys getting the rock star pop as usual. Yeah, yeah, not say much. Yeah, decent tag match. The main focus is what happened after, as we'll get into now.
Yes, obviously the Hardys were able to pick up a win. They're celebrating in the ring, lights go out, and it seems to be a follow up from the thing in the beginning. But we get the debut of the Righteous, Vincent with Dutch, and despite the crowd reaction, which was a little harsh, just in terms of, I would, again, like I said, just the crowd was chanting, "Who are you?" Um, Again, I would think that was more. That's a little.
I mean,
I think that's more just being disrespectful because I can think a lot of people know who they are, especially Vincent, who was in TNA before. But what were you saying, Niall?
um, I was gonna say you could say that, but then again, I think someone brought up the point like the audience is kind of different because you could
Exactly.
say the audience is mixed. The audience is mixed of like not just TNA fans, but also WWE fans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and hey, you can also put a little blame on AEW slash Ring of Honor because they were hardly featured. Only OG Ring of Honor fans know who the Righteous are, especially Vincent. Impact fans, Impact era fans like us that were still there, we know Vincent from the Honor More days. But yeah, I mean, yeah, is was a little offensive, maybe, yeah. I mean, who are you chance and stuff, but at the same time, I mean, they know that they're hardly known. Like
Mm-hmm.
I doubt WWE fans would know them if they came to NXT or whatnot and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, give them a few weeks, whatever direction these things we go. I'm seeing, yeah, I think we're gonna get comfortable with the Righteous and stuff. And I'm a fan of Vincent actually. I used to watch the OG RH days, and I thought, man, this guy has potential to like be their world champion there and stuff. But yeah, fast forward, new Ring of Honor and stuff, and like I said, they were hardly featured and hardly used, so to speak. Like to my knowledge, they only even had one. Sorry, one. Only like a few pay-per-view matches, a slight few, but then yeah, like I said, they were hardly featured. And as Matthew in the chat said, I didn't even know who they were. I mean, I can't blame you, but yeah, that's just an part like on how less they were featured on under previous tenures in other places. So, but yeah, it should be interesting that they're confronting the Hardys. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm glad you brought up the crowds because yes, like I would, because yes, Vincent from old school ROH days should be, he was part of the New Kingdom with Taven and TK Orion, and then obviously he went. People might know him in TNA from our Honor No More, but he obviously more recent, and then him and Dutch have been kind of a tag team, I believe, since then. I thought a little bit before then, but I'm glad you brought up the crowds because I think that could be a good point. I mean, I think that's a very good point. I saw someone mention that that's a big WWE area, and you could get the combination of that. And I don't know how many TNA fans were, watched ROH. So it's possible that a lot of people did know who they were. So, and you said it again, their most recent run is Ring of Honor, and I don't know how many people watch that. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that kind of just tells you how different. Sorry, that just kind of tells you how different the fan bases are. Like,
Yes, exactly. Okay, next we're going to move on to I said that it might have been should have been the best match on the show just going into an X Division match, but that 8-man wasn't going to be topped. But it was the X Division title match. Leon Slater taking on NJ Francis, who was accompanied by Rich Swann, despite all the stuff going on before, and then how it culminated in the ring. But this was a good match. I think AJ Francis, every time he gets in the ring, over delivers, especially for what people thought that we were probably going to get when we signed him. He's way better than people gave him credit for. This was a very good match. He works very well with smaller, quicker guys. This was really fun, Io. This was good. What'd you think about this one?
yeah, this was a very good stuff. Yeah, as great as Slater and Major. They, yeah, nothing was gonna top that 8-man tag earlier. But yeah, this was yeah, this was a good, decent follow up. Yeah, throughout the match, yeah, basically, yeah, throughout the match, Francis was kind of like showing some disappointing reactions towards Rich Swann and stuff. Like wouldn't even let Swan join him on the money um thing that they always do and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, El Paso crowd too. Yeah, they were they were not too fond with French. Just like calling him some names, telling him he can't wrestle and stuff. But yeah, this was good stuff from Slater too. Who's actually about to compete later tonight. And in Deadline and stuff. But yeah, this what's interesting. Yeah, what's interesting is yeah, a lot of things went down. Yeah, BDE got involved on Slater's behalf, and then the interesting part is what happened. Is what happened that Swan Francis wanted Swan to use the belt to attack to take out Slater, and then he refused, and then Swan ends up using the belt on AJ Francis. So pretty much, yeah. The first class seemed to be imploding there, and then Swan Slater capitalized with the Swanton 450 and retains the belt. So yeah, this is very good stuff. I am actually surprised, yeah, that Swan did that, but I think we can see it come. We saw it coming a little bit, but yeah. So yeah, yeah. Credit to all every credit to everyone there. Yeah, yeah.
You know what? On one hand, I was kind of upset that it seems like that our first class is kind of ending in terms of being a tag team. But on the other hand, and it's only because I wanted them to eventually be tag team champions. But now that I'm actually glad because it seems like we're getting an influx of tag teams, possibly the Righteous. You know, the Rascals can obviously do a variation of tag teams. We still have the Great Hands. The Hardys are obviously champions. Sarah and Sane are still there, I believe. So I'd rather see Rich and AJ go back into the single scene. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
think Rich versus AJ will be a very good match as well. And obviously, Rich looked phenomenal in his last match. I think he's in the best shape of his career. So him ultimately getting back to the world title scene is what I want. And I've always thought AJ Francis should be in that position as well. So yeah, I'm fine with this. Yeah, Leon winning. I'm good. So it's on to the next one. I'm interested to see who they build up next to be his next challenger. I would think it's going to be Desmond Xavier at one point. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
I believe he chased everybody in the Rascals except for him. So,
Yeah. And
and that'd be a great.
when you look at Slater's reign, yeah, he's had a good reign. He's look at it like the names he's already gone through: Moose,
Yeah,
Cedric, Jason Hodge, Myron Reed, Stax. Had the no contest with Javon, Swan, and AJ Francis. So,
yeah. So obviously they could either do him versus Trey, him versus Wentz, him versus Dez. They could get to that, but
mhm.
yeah, if his reign ended soon, I would still say it was a great reign. Look at all those opponents. So you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because to me, really, I would rather have I could give a shit less about the length of days. I'd rather see the number of opponents because you'll get times where people are like champions for almost a year and only really wrestled 3 or 4 times. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So he's already had a great run. So you know, okay, next we're gonna move on to the obviously the main event, final match. It's Frankie Kazarian. It's a world title match. Frankie Kazarian taking on JDC. I thought this was made to be even more emotional because earlier in the night, JDC cut what I thought was the best promo of his career, especially at least in TNA. You know, what I mean, I can't think of one in WWE that was this good. But I don't know. I don't want this guy to retire. You know what I mean? I think he's having the run of his lifetime, and he hasn't slowed down.
Yeah.
He has everything to be a star. Um, this was a really good match. I thought this over delivered as well. I didn't think we were going to
Mhm.
get this good of a match. Thought it was funny Kazarian coming out in the lowrider. You know what I mean? I don't know if he was
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
be. It was very heelish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was good, Io. What'd you think about this one?
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you listen to you're newly wedded, about retiring. So that's kind of where JDC is at. But yeah, he did cut a good backstage promo. Kind of letting us know how emotional this night is and stuff. And Yeah, he said too that had he won the world title, he would love to defend it against Eddie Edwards or Genesis. So it seems like he wants Eddie to be his final opponent there. So, but we'll get into that another time. So yeah, he had a good showing with Frankie. Yeah, you mentioned Frankie and the lowrider. Yeah, Sonny, I don't know if that was two things here that was an homage to Eddie, or was that trying to mock Mike Santana a little bit because Santana did the lowrider too earlier this year. But yeah, yeah, this I know. So many folks, especially on social media, kind of had like downplayed this a bit for being a world title match and JDC, even getting the shot. So, but I mean, hey, like for Wolfsburg, he's on his hey, he's retiring soon. Like, kind of give him some memorable moments, especially having this opportunity. And he at least he had a good decent showing. Like our buddy Miguel, I hope he watches too because he like he's surprisingly he's high on Dango as far as in ring work or so. But yeah, I mean, basically, you have two guys, two veterans, so to speak, both trained by Killer Kowalski. Uh, um, yeah, both trained by Killer Kowalski. Putting on at least a decent match. I mean, if it's for what it's worth, yeah. And then yeah, Frankie, he tried to bring in the belt. Try to cheat his way and stuff, but at least that backfired, so to speak. And JDC, yeah, he managed to overcome that. A lot of near falls, some reversals, but then of course, Frankie countered with the crossface chicken wing, and yeah, eventually led JDC passing out for the win. So yeah, decent match.
Yeah, very emotional. Tapping out. I thought that was very well done. You know what I mean? Uh, After the match, obviously the system go to console JDC, and then we get the NXT guys running out to kind of attack them. And I thought this was good because to kind of starting the war, because what happened after that, we saw them take them out, and it looked like they were going to try to burn the logo. Hannafin was just disgusted, and finally we get the rest of the TNA guys coming out, and this was good. You know what I mean? The ring was full of security guards. This was mayhem. And the last scene image, we get Stacks punching out his soon-to-be father-in-law. I didn't expect that, but this is going to be good. I'm looking forward to where we go from this. This is like a proper invasion now, it seems like.
Yeah. Once the system came down to check on Dango, yeah, the NXT guys, rushed into the ring, beat down Ben Macklin and Santana, came in, all hell broke loose. And of course, Santino tried to restore order in his way. So, and then of course got sucker punched for his trouble by his own son-in-law. Which for now I'm gonna bring into earlier in the evening, Santana, he was talking to his daughter, Ariana. Yeah, yeah, Matthew. Yeah, he said Stack was not too upset. Of course, yeah, he kept saying like my hands are clean, like da da da, like Santana was supposed to get involved. Well, here we are now, and what's interesting, yeah, Santana, he was talking to Ariana earlier about he's this close to finding out who's responsible for this invasion and the attacks and stuff. So it's just like
he's talking to her. He's talking to who's responsible.
Yeah. So it's just like so yeah, it's just like you're looking at who's responsible. So
yeah. Like this is very. I like the way that element of it, because adding like the idea, then playing into Ariana's getting married to him. This is just very good. Like that element, I really hope that's where we're going, because that that, people are constantly asking for stories. This is a very good story. You know what I mean? So, and just like the idea of all happy under Santino's watch. Yeah, this is good. I'm looking forward to seeing where this one goes. But overall, this was a very, 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 very good show. I'm looking forward to how they finish off the rest of the year. Obviously, we have Genesis to look forward to in January, 2 live shows that we know of. Bright things ahead. And then obviously they debut on AMC. But overall, what'd you think about the show?
Yeah, like I said, this was top to bottom, very good show. I'm very. I got my eye on Ariana Grace for at least to see. Let's just say I got my eye on her because I don't really trust her, but I think some Santino should kind of keep notes on that. But good show, top to bottom. The countdown is going, towards the AMC debut. Of course, we got the steel cage match going. As Santino announced earlier, that Team NXT, Team TNA.
I like that point. Antonio, real quick. I didn't realize that. Yeah, Tully's kid in TNA, Arn's kid in TNA. That's awesome. That is really cool.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, Tessa. Yeah. Tessa. Yeah, Brock. Yeah.
That should be a faction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get Brock in the Diamond Collective. That's a lot of that's a pedigree right there.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this Thursday's, show. I believe they announced we have a dog collar match between Danny and Indy that's being taped. I believe we're getting a steel cage match, and then I believe I saw something that they're going to do a Team TNA versus Team NXT cage match as well, right?
Yep.
So it's starting a little sooner than I thought, but that doesn't mean I'm not happy. So we're really getting this thing going, and I think they're ramping up for that first day of TV, and they're going to give you a really hot show. Again, that crowd was really hot for TNA last night.
It was. Yeah. El Paso should be their annual stop because their crowd's very good.
Definitely. That's a very good market. It seems like whenever they go back there, the crowds are hot. So the good wrestling market. Obviously, that's what you hope to go. You hope for all markets are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, with that being said, I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank Iowa's for joining as well. I want to remind you guys to make sure that you like and subscribe this video. Subscribe to Body Slam the way to get notified whenever we go live or whenever the many, many great people at Body Slam go live. Great people doing great work over there. With that being said, we'll see you guys all next week, and thank you all for joining us.
Peace.
Bye.